Hi, greetings everyone. As you come in, please hit the like and feel free to share the live and subscribe if you have not. Tonight's topic is why patience is necessary. So we'll just dive right in, I guess. So,
No patience in diving in.
oh
That
gosh.
was that that was a joke.
Right. But God really started dealing with me this week in regards to patience. I just started thinking like a lot of my issues came from me just rushing into things. And I know that's common for not just me, but a lot of us. And if the enemy sometimes, if he can't stop us with other distractions, he'll try to get us to rush things. He'll speed us up. And sometimes the faster we go, the more mistakes we could possibly make along the way.
Mm.
So I guess tonight we're talking about something that could be a silent killer in regards to your blessings, which is impatience, and why it's necessary. Yeah. Hey, Bolo.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up? Oh, and shout out to everybody in the chat. Hi, sis. Hi, Daryl. Thank you for being here. I think this is my first time seeing you here. Hi, Cynical One. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Yeah.
Blessings, everybody.
What are your thoughts?
Um, they say patience is a virtue.
Yes.
Patience is important. Um, a lot of the times we don't like being in the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
The hot seat is very uncomfortable. You know,
Very.
and it is. It's supposed to be.
Smitty. Mm-hmm.
So this is why the AAA thing that we made up village is so important. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
it allows you to figure things out and understand, gives you better clarity, better understanding, and why you're here, and what you need to do to get to the next place. And it's just very important. So patience is something that's a need.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a want; it's a need. We need patience because
Right. And there are so many things that we can rush. Like sometimes it could be the way that we I guess receive money or obtain money. It could be love. I think that's a huge one pertaining to our relationship and also healing.
absolutely.
We try to rush these things, we could become more of a detriment than a help to ourselves. Hey, A-Dub.
Well, especially when it comes to relationships, right? And that goes to all types: brother, sister, husband, wife. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, patience is very important because the nuance of these things at times can get confusing or can get lost. And you need to understand the small things, because the small thing is what brings together and connects the big things.
That's
So
true.
it's very important to be patient in certain things, and understand that sometimes things just take time, you know, to
Right.
to cultivate and to nourish and to get it to that next level. Because again, people say, especially in relationships, I find
Mhm.
that people say, you know, uh, I didn't know him or I didn't know her or things,
Yeah.
something similar. And we have to understand that getting to know someone and becoming that person is a lifetime. It's not something that happens overnight. You know,
Mm,
people
that's
think
true.
that it happens overnight. It doesn't. Yeah, you may love each other, but to get to understand the nuance of how a person thinks and the quirks and the dislikes and the likes and things of that nature, that's
Mhm.
a growing thing daily. It's a growing thing daily, and sometimes we lack the patience in understanding those things. And
Right.
So we
My dad says the same thing. Like it takes a lifetime to get to know a
yeah,
person.
your dad
Um,
is a wise man.
and when we don't have patience, it can blind us. In Proverbs it says Proverbs 19:2, desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will hasty feet miss the way? So basically, what the impatience does, it does blind us. Like it keeps us from seeing red flags. It, keeps us from recognizing the traps. And the worst part is we may think that we're in control, but we're really walking straight into danger sometimes because we're in such a rush.
I mean, that's good. And the flip side to that is to, without having patience, the small things that you can enjoy in a relationship you miss. You know, the
Be more
small,
specific.
the conversations, the spending time in each other's presence, the
Mm-hmm.
the just holding hands and just being in the moment. And there's so much more to it. Thank you for putting me on the spot. There's more to it, but sometimes and this is the thing that a lot of us sometimes lose, that when you're going through issues, when you're going through problems, right? And so often when I'm counseling people, we forget when we're going through problems, no matter what the relationship is, brother, sister, husband, wife, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
the hard times that you have, what makes you a portion of it, what strengthens you to get out of it, is the remembrance of the good things that you went through.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I fighting for this? Why am I going through this? Why do I choose to stay? And then you remember those times that you had in the past, the struggle, the friendship, the camaraderie, all these different things. So when the
Mm-hmm.
times comes, you can say, this is why it's worth fighting for. Or not. You make
Yeah.
that decision. So
You know what? And since we're speaking about patience in regards to relationships, it can actually break them. Um, and sometimes we can think that we're helping to push a person forward, I guess. And in reality, we can end up pushing them away. And in the book of Ecclesiastes, where it says patience is better than pride, and a lot of impatience um, really is just pride. And that's kind of hard to accept. Like, it's pride because it has us thinking that our way is faster and our way is better and our way is smarter than God's way at times. You know?
I can dig that.
Yeah.
I can definitely dig it. So, at the end of the day, we have to understand that it's much better to measure twice to cut once than it is to cut twice and
Mm-hmm.
measure once, So, um, there's a reason why things happen the way they happen. And the best thing to do is do your best to learn from it and become a better version of yourself than you were when you walked into it first. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said to you before, we created something in the village called AAA, not the peoples that pick you up on the street, but the first A of that AAA is acknowledging, right? Acknowledgement that you are the reason why, in most situations, you are the reason why you're in it. It isn't everybody else, because it's very easy to blame everyone else for the things that happens to you, because when you realize that you're the problem, you then have to become the solution. The second is acceptance, accepting the choices, the ramifications of the choices that we make. We
Mm-hmm.
in situations talk about the effect. Seldomly do we talk about the cause. If we don't talk about the cause, then the effect will continue to happen. right? And
Mm-hmm.
and in between acknowledgement and acceptance is the growing curve, because the person you walked in is not the person that you walk out, and we have to understand that growth is uncomfortable. That's the first thing we have to
Very
understand.
uncomfortable.
There is no comfortability in growth, because then that's not growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we mistake, a lot of the times we mistake movement for progress. And the last A is application, applying what you've learned, up
Mm-hmm.
your growth. So now that you become that light from that darkness that you were in.
Absolutely. And I think I said something pertaining to this on my last short. Impatient blocks God's timing. Um,
100.
mhm. Because the word tells us to not grow weary. Um, because in due season we will reap if we don't give up. And a lot of times, a sign of us giving up is lacking patience. We
No,
start to do things our way, you know.
no, I mean, look at the story of Joseph. Look at the story of Job. You know, look,
Mhm.
look at the story of Israel. How long did they wait for their Messiah to come? You know, look,
Right.
you look at Joseph. How long did he have to wait to become second in command? That thing didn't happen overnight. It was years. It was decades. Because remember,
See what I'm saying?
his brothers didn't remember him.
Hmm.
He looked like an Egyptian to them. He went in as a young man. When they found him, he was a grown man. So, when we read Psalms 27:14, it says, wait for the Lord.
Hmm.
We don't know what the Lord is trying to build in us in the moment. You know, life is meant to be loved forward but understood backward. Seldomly do you understand what you're going through when you're going through it in its totality, right? It's
Hmm.
it's usually after we go through it, you can sit there and go, damn, now I understand,
And
right?
that kind of sucks, though.
Say it again.
It's in a way, like because it's like bittersweet when I think about, man, I really, some things I should have done differently, but when I look at the bigger picture, I still see the blessing that
Well,
came from it because I did, gain wisdom out of it.
and that's the point. You did it the way it was supposed to be done. Because if you did it differently, then the lesson that you needed to learn in that moment, you wouldn't have learned it. So
Right.
that's why you're able to say, damn, you know what? If I should have zigged when I zagged.
Yes.
So now when it comes to that point, you learn from it. Sometimes you listen, if the mountain was smooth, no one would climb it.
That is
Sometimes you have
true.
to get that scar for you to sit here and say, you know what, that ain't gonna happen again. Sometimes you have
Right.
to get that bump or that bruise for you to sit there and say, okay, I need to duck when I get
Right. That
hard.
is so true.
So Psalms 27:14 says, wait for the Lord, be strong. You have
Mhm.
to be strong because again, the Lord is not waking up or he's not bringing the weaklings in here. Anyone that chooses the Lord, or if the Lord chose you, well, the Lord did choose you, you're not a weak person at all. And you have to
It's
understand,
so true.
you know.
Hmm.
And then it says, and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. Be patient and wait. It may not come the way you think it should. It may not look the way you think it should. But when you let go of your inhibitions and you understand, okay, this is the Father working, and you have that relationship with Him, and that's what's important. That relationship with Him, you then learn to build that trust in Him, and you become
Right.
comfortable with the uncomfortable.
That's so true. Hey, 84. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, sis. I love you too. I was so glad to see you today. I love you so much. I appreciate the super chat. Hey, Rise. Shout out to you. Y'all did so good last night on the panel. I enjoyed y'all. But yes, so waiting is difficult.
It is.
Talk about patience, being a virtue in which it really is, but it can be very difficult, but you have to weigh like, okay, would I suffer more by being impatient, or should I just go through this season of waiting to gain what God has for me versus causing myself more pain because we miss blessings, and sometimes we end up settling for less than what God had for us when we operate and dwell in a spirit of being impatient. It really does cost us, and it can cause us unnecessary pain. Like we talk about the storms of life, and as I was reading about patience this week, like I was so humbled. And sometimes we'll just say like patience is a virtue, but do we realize like the storms we end up walking into that we didn't even have to face because we want to do things our way and we want the things that we want when we want it, you know?
Yeah.
And it can cause your faith to be damaged. Like we talk about God not being there. Is God not there, or are we impatient? Like that's another trick of the enemy. That's why the fruits of the spirit are all equally important, you know. Without patience, it can cause us to start doubting God when it was never his fault. It was us, you know, not rushing into things. And a lot of times when we rush, it causes like deep ruin.
You know, and sometimes with those things that happen, we need to go through those things. It's a need.
Right.
You know, I know it doesn't sound, like a need, but it's a need. And I'll give you an example of it. You know, there's certain things that children learn, babies. I'm watching my granddaughter, and there's certain things when I watch my granddaughter, uh,
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things that she'll run into and then be like, I'm not running into that no more.
Oh, how old is she?
She's one.
That
So,
is so adorable.
it's certain things that they make a mental note that and now
Mm-hmm.
staying away from that. Even when they get older, certain things that are hot. How do you teach a child hot? You can't.
Mm-hmm.
It's hot. But when they touch that radiator and it's not as
Ooh,
cold as they thought it was, you know, they learn from it. Yeah, they cry in the moment, but that experience teaches them, I'm not touching that anymore. Okay.
it does.
No,
Right.
and there's nothing that you can put them in or tell them to go touch that. Nope. Staying away from
Mm-hmm.
it. So sometimes we have to go through that to teach so that when we get older, we can sit and go, listen, let me tell you something. Don't ever go around this block, man. Why?
Mm-hmm.
And such and such. So certain things we have to go through. There's certain things.
Yeah, it's necessary. Hey, Scorch. Thank you so much for tuning in. He is so silly all the time.
Yeah. So there's certain things that are important for us to go.
Mhm.
And it's important for our growth. And if we don't go through it, then we don't know the importance of why this thing was important.
Right.
Sometimes you got to lose something for you to understand what it was, so that if you do, or if you are blessed enough to gain given another chance to gain something like that again, you know how
Mhm.
to reverence it. So, um, certain things we have to go through. You-
Right. Yeah, that's so true. And not having patience, like that's also a form of distrust. Do you agree? Like what, because when we're walking with God, that's testing our faith. And sometimes when we're rushing, God is often rooted in like the belief that God won't come through like he said he would.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, when you look at what Joseph said to his brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
What he said, he said, "What you meant for evil, God meant for good." And it's
Yeah.
not, and it's not until you get to that moment, and that's when the clarity, the epiphany hits you. Bam! This is why I was put here. This is why.
Absolutely.
And when you get to that point, it is so awesome because now it just becomes clear. This is why I was put here. And it allows you to reverence the moment. It allows you to really sit back and say, the Lord is no joke, and how patient he is with us, how stupid we act, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and how childlike we are. And he sits there and he waits like, no, don't worry about it. He'll get it. Let him fight.
Mm-hmm.
Sooner or later. He'll get it, hopefully sooner than later. And then when it clicks. And it never leaves you. It stays with you for the rest of your life. Every one of us have a story of
Mm-hmm.
something that might have happened that gave you clarity onto why you are doing what you're doing, and you'll never lose it. I don't care if you get dementia. I don't care how old you are. There is something, a mark on your body, a bump you might have gotten, a bruise you might have happened, and it comes with the story that you're going to tell all of your children. So it's
Absolutely.
very important.
Hey, Black Lexicon. That is so true. It's very, very important. Hey, True Bleed. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe if you have not. Also, share the live. Um, what was my next point? Yeah, so a lot of times when we're moving ahead of God, we're saying that His timing is just not good enough.
Absolutely.
And we have to remember the scripture, Isaiah 40:31. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. That is a true word. When we wait on God, like He promises to keep us in His care, like He gives us enough strength to keep pushing forward, even in the weakest moments when we want to give up. And then one day you'll look back and be like, "Dang, thank you, Lord. I'm not in that same position. You know, you really did see me through." And impatience also is faith in our own plan, our plan, not God's. And this is something, oh, I'm almost 40 now. Like, rushing really does invite regret. Many of our regrets started with, like, I was impatient, I just couldn't wait, and it's rooted in temporary emotions that can lead to permanent consequences. That's true for so many of us today. When we're
Absolutely.
thinking out of what we feel in the moment, we're not thinking long term how this is going to possibly have a negative effect on me, and not just me, but the people around.
Especially like, when you get into relationships, right? You
Mm-hmm.
don't, you don't learn your lesson from the first person you dated. Now you're no longer dating people. You're starting to date your lessons.
Mm.
I mean, you're no longer dating the person. You're dating what you should have learned in the first relationship that you didn't. So now you're gonna continue doing the same thing over. So now you're dating the lesson, because obviously you're hard headed and you don't want to sit down and be patient to understand why do you continue to go through these things. And this be a lot of the talking points that you hear
Mm-hmm.
when you hear these panels. It's the same talking point. They didn't learn the lesson. So they're deemed to repeat what they continuously do and expect different results. They are in their mind, they know the results that they want, but they're not
Mm-hmm.
the lesson to put them in the trajectory to get the different results that they want. And that's the classic case of the definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting different results.
That's
So
right.
you have to learn the lesson. And sometimes you have to be patient. Sometimes you have to have humility, because, again, humility comes hand in hand with patience, because when you are humble, you're able to say, now I understand. When you're not humble, how many people do we try to give answers, try to get them to see something? I already know, I already know, I already know. And you got to sit back and go,
Yeah,
okay,
they don't want to hear it at all.
right. You got to sit there and go, go ahead, man, go. All right. You'll see.
Mhm.
And again, you need humility, because we don't know everything. So you have to make way for the Holy Spirit to teach you. So
Mhm.
this is what's
Black Lexicon made a good comment. God does not operate by time, but timing. Absolutely.
that's a good point. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good point. You know, the Lord tells you, wait ye upon him. So that's a very good point. Again, and it goes into the picking. You know, the Lord says so many good things.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry.
He says so many good things in the book, and when he says, a man that he that finds a wife is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just sit down in that verse, and meditate in it. What did it take for him to find a good wife?
Mhm.
How did he know what a good wife was? Obviously, he had to do the work in himself. He had to learn what he wanted as a man. He had to have his trajectory, his intentionality, his character, integrity. He had to have the relationship with the Father. He had to be poured into as a man to know what his position is. He had to know how to take care of a woman, how to deal with the woman, how to hear a woman, how to nurture a woman. He had to learn these things first, right?
Yeah.
And what position she will play in his life, how she can add to his life. So now, when this man goes out into the world, he knows what to look for,
Exactly.
opposed to freestyling, right? You don't become an NBA player when you join the NBA. You should have the fundamentals of what basketball is when you get into it. Now, getting into the NBA is a different discipline from college, from high school, absolutely. But you have the fundamental understanding of why things work the way they work. And
Mhm.
so often we find sisters and brothers trying to figure out what a relationship is when they're in the relationship, or trying to figure out what a father or mother is when they're in it. And when you do that, the other person suffers, and so do the children.
That's so true. And sometimes, like, the enemy will have you thinking that you're feeling a sense of urgency, and it's really impatience. So we have to discern what's really what, and not, because not every urgent feeling is from God. Some are just pressure from fear and pride or people, and a lot of times the enemy will use like urgency to make us panic into making very poor decisions. And as I have strengthened my relationship with the Lord, I'm learning that God's timing truly does build me. It makes me stronger, and the enemy's timing always breaks a person, you
Correct.
know
Do you know why it breaks a person?
um
I mean, you just gave the
because
answer.
it's not, God is not in it.
That's true, but why?
Why does, you said, why does
It breaks.
impatience break a person?
Correct.
Um, because God is not in it.
Right.
So
But,
that's the answer I could think
but
of.
why? But why?
Why does impatience break a
You just gave the answer. All I'm doing is
person?
because right now we're talking about the macro. I'm trying to go into the micro. Why?
Mhm.
Why is it?
Why does it break a person?
Yeah. The chat can go into it
It
too.
damages your faith, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I feel
No,
like I'm missing it.
you did. No, you did. I mean, you said the answer. So now we're trying to focus on it keeps you from learning. It
That's
keeps you
so
from
true.
understanding the lesson that you needed to learn, the impatience, right?
Mhm.
How many times have you done something in your life and your timing was off and you missed a blessing, and you sit there and say, "Damn, if I would have just waited." That's you learning. That's you learning. So you
Absolutely.
next time that's not going to happen. But what does the enemy do? He boggles you down with other things so that you don't come to that conclusion to say, "I need to wait. I need
Mhm.
to learn from that mistake that I just made." Because remember, in life, when you fail at something, if you learn from it, it's called an experience. A failure
Mhm.
is only something if you learn nothing from it.
Right. That's so true. So Coffee said, "Man, that sounds so good for this day and time. How she is going to add to your life. It has always been what a man can do for her, and she has to do absolutely nothing.
Well,
Men work hard and die."
well, you know, this is
Ooh,
the
that's hard, but
this,
I
this is the
that's
thing that
not
we have to
understand.
learn. We have
Mm-hmm.
we have to learn that, right? So often, I was on a panel yesterday, and I don't think I stayed up for more than 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said something wrong, Someone said that a man is not supposed to teach a woman, and they pulled out Titus. I believe Titus chapter 2, verse 4, where it
Mhm.
says, "These older women must train the younger women to love their husbands and their children." So she pulled out that scripture and she stood strong and she stood tall on it. And it bothered me.
Yes, that's
It,
way
it,
off.
it bothered me in the aspect of what she was saying. So I said, I came up and said, listen, there's only one thing I want to go into. I don't even want to have the conversation about the position of men, women, and all that. You guys can have that. I just want to go into, you made a statement. And the statement you made was completely wrong, because when you read Titus chapter 2, it's Paul talking to Titus. And he's telling Titus in verse 1, "As for you, Titus, promote the kind of living that reflects wholesome teaching. Teach
Mhm.
the older men to exercise self control and to be worthy of respect and to live wisely. They must have sound faith and be filled with the holy, filled with love and patience." So this
Mhm.
is Paul writing to Titus. Verse 3, similarly. And what did he say? Similarly, meaning the same thing I'm giving you for men, I'm going to give you for women. Similarly, teach
Mhm.
the older women. So you just said that men have no bearings in teaching women. She shut down.
Right.
She said, I never read that scripture. I said, but that's the problem. The problem is you're not taking in the context of what's being said here, right? You just
Mhm.
want to push your point and push your narrative. And this is why we read early in the morning, right? So
Yeah.
that someone says, well, this scripture means this. Hold on, my G. Let's look at the context of the word. So what Paul was telling Titus was, teach the older women uh, 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 to live in a way that honors God. They must not slander others or be heavy drinkers. Instead, they should teach others what is good. The others he's talking about is verse 4. These
Mhm.
older women, which you taught, must train the younger women. So that's the point. The point is
Mhm.
that you have
Context is everything.
context is everything. Everything is context.
Yes.
And when you don't understand the word, or when you only have pieces and bits of all the
Mhm.
top hits, you're not getting the full context, the full contextual picture that the Lord is trying to paint so that you can understand, and you're not getting the lesson. So going to what Kwafi said, right?
Mhm.
So often, you hear that women are supposed to be taken care of, they're supposed to be provided for, and all these things. How do we provide for them? How are they taken care of? I fail to hear anybody go into that. All I hear is she's supposed to be provided for and taken care of and all this stuff. What does that mean? No one goes into that part. So they allow the picture to be painted or the narrative to be spun that they're supposed to stay home like they're children.
Mhm.
Like a woman is supposed to be taken care of like she's a child. Woman ain't no damn child. You're my partner, right?
Mhm.
You're my helpmate. So me having you as a helpmate means that we both get dirty. That's what that means. The Proverbs
Yes.
31 woman didn't stay home. I don't know
Mhm.
where these people get that women stayed home. The Proverbs 31
So
woman, she went out into the streets and worked.
yes. So I think the issue with society today, and hey Drew, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, Brandon. I appreciate y'all. Who did I miss? Oh, why? Thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate it. If y'all could please hit the like. Um,
Put up with
hold
narratives and dialogue. Put up. He put Bowler. You said something in the stream a few weeks ago
on.
with biblical text that they should have jobs. Listen, if your husband
Mm-hmm.
is able to provide in an aspect of where she can stay home, don't get
Mm-hmm.
it twisted. He's going to find a way, and they're going to work out a way where she adds to him in a different route. May not
Mm-hmm.
be going to work. But for most people that don't have, for most men that don't have that job that is paying 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures, absolutely, she's going to have to go out there and help.
Okay,
Proverbs
so
1
you,
worked. She worked.
yeah, you addressed what I was gonna say because not all men require the woman to work. I guess if the finances make room for that. Um,
But
but
here,
majority of the time the woman absolutely needs to work. And that's just the way I was raised.
yeah, but
Like,
he's going to find something for her to do. Even if he's
mhm,
financially fit, there's going to be something that she's going to add. And
mhm.
here's the thing, any good woman, and I want y'all to hear me clear because I don't want to stutter. Any good woman is not going to feel right watching her man do everything and she does nothing.
I agree.
She's going to find a way to fit in to add to him
Mm-hmm.
or to add to the dream, add to the direction, add to the intentionality. She is going to find something. If it's not monetary, she's going to find something. Listen, this dude need to make sure that everything is quiet when he gets home, blah, 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 blah. She is going to find something to take. Listen, I always say this. The king's job is to take care of the kingdom. That's his job.
Mm-hmm.
The queen's job is to take care of the king. And that's the brass tacks. That's the fundamental foundation of it. My mother was the buffer between me and my father.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my father went to work. He was a nurse's aide. My father would go to work late at night and we're bugging out. She would tell us, "Yo, listen, he's coming home. Everybody be quiet and shut up. He needs to come home." And, she created an environment for him to thrive in.
Mm-hmm.
And she found her nuance. That's what we're supposed to do for one another.
Hold
You know,
on. Can you repeat? You said that somebody said be quiet, shut up.
who said that?
I thought you just said
Oh yeah,
that.
my mother would tell us be quiet and be quiet.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
Because if my father was coming home, because he would come home at midnight,
Mm-hmm.
he'd finish working his shift. So when we're
Mm-hmm.
kids, I'm one of 4 brothers. So all of us is bugging out, tripping. About 11:45, 11:15. She's saying everyone be quiet because he's coming home. He doesn't want to hear the noise. She's trying to get him to sleep and try
Yeah.
to create an environment for him to thrive and for him to relax, for him to wind down, for him to decompress.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just sitting on our hands. No, in certain Bibles that are written, Ruth comes right after Proverbs. Why? Because Ruth is the quintessential example of what the Proverbs 31 woman was or is. So when you look at Ruth, how she would get up and go to the vineyard before the vineyard people was there. She would get there before them and leave after them. She
Right.
structured marriage not for her, not to benefit her, but to benefit her mother-in-law. It was never about her. It was never about Ruth herself. She always put herself in a position to take care of her mother-in-law. This is what relationships are about.
Mm-hmm.
Never about you. It's always about the other person. Now, again, I'm not saying to you to be the doormat.
Isn't it about both people?
I say this all the time. If if I'm worried about you and
Mm-hmm.
you're worried about me, there's no room for selfishness to come in.
Mm-hmm.
When I
Right.
when I start worrying about me, that means that there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Now understand that there's nuance to it all. We're just speaking in general because we don't have the time to go into every issue. When I start worrying about me, because I'm saying to myself, my wife don't care. My wife
Mm-hmm.
don't care about me. Now Satan has a way in because now I'm going to start siphoning that 100% that I was given,
Mm-hmm.
siphoning it to protect myself and vice versa if she feels the same way. Now that separation comes in because now we're allowing the enemy to come in.
Yeah. So how do you, well, yeah, you said we can't go into all of
So
it, but
you have
that's
to
very
understand
true.
that Christ wasn't about himself. When did Christ ever talk about himself?
Right.
He never did. It was always about the church.
Mm-hmm.
So how could how could you destroy that relationship between him and the church? You couldn't. There was no room to. There was no room. So again, when you find that person, when the Lord puts that man or woman in your life that completely cares, doesn't care what your situation is,
Mhm.
okay? When you find that man or you find that woman that understands, listen, this is what it is. You just fit hand in glove. Remember,
Mhm.
not all hands fit in all gloves. There are
But
long.
doesn't that take a lot of work and nurturing and
Hell yeah, hell yeah,
communication and
hell.
yeah,
Sometimes communication happens on such a level that sometimes you don't even have to talk.
but isn't that after you've like established something strong?
It depends. Sometimes sometimes you have to understand it. It's like my mom would understand that my dad he don't want to talk at this moment, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna give him his room to breathe, and vice versa. He would come home, my mom ain't in the mood. He would give her the room to breathe. Even with the with different relationship with the brothers or with the sisters. Sometimes your brother may not be in the mood to talk, and you may have something on your mind.
Right.
What
You
am I?
know what?
But what do I do in that moment? Do I
Mhm.
press the issue when this person is not ready to talk, or do I wait? Listen, let me
That's
say this.
really good.
I hope it comes out right. Let me say this: that sometimes
Mhm.
you may have the right thing to say, but if you say it in the wrong time, it's the wrong.
Mhm.
Again, sometimes you may have the right thing to say, but if you say it at the wrong time, it's the wrong thing. Again, like what my man said earlier, it's not about time, it's about timing, right? I'll
So
give
is that can that kind of come off as selfishness if it's always about
let me give
how
you
one person feels in particular and they're not thinking about how things may affect the other party?
that was just an example, that there's nuance to it all. But let me give you an example of what I'm saying to you. Okay?
Mhm.
Example. I tell my child all the time, do not go into the 12-foot portion of the pool. Not
Mhm.
that well, or you're not that well of a versed swimmer. Stay in the 6 feet. Okay. I make sure I give him that information. He swims in the 12 foot. Now he's drowning. Do I tell him at that moment, you see, I told you not to go into the 12 foot. Now look at what's happening. Is that the right moment to tell him that while he's
Absolutely
drowning?
not.
But it's the right thing to say, correct?
Mhm.
But is it the right moment to say it?
Nope.
You jump into that water, you grab him out, make sure he's good, make sure he's okay. And then you tell him, you see, because now
Good.
experience taught you.
Mhm.
So again, just because you have the right thing to say, if the timing isn't there, sometimes it may fall flat on its head. It just may.
Mhm.
So sometimes you have to know and have that divine timing to say, okay, you know what?
Mhm.
This person just got fired from keeping it real. Do I tell them in this moment that keeping it real went wrong? No, that ain't the moment.
Mhm.
That's not the moment to tell them. You wait,
Yeah.
you wait for a different time, and it might kill you because you may want to say it
Mhm.
when things are a little bit lackadaisical. Maybe they found a different job. Now you could say, "Listen, now that you found a new job, sometimes keeping it real can go wrong, brother.
Right.
So be mindful so that
Timing is everything.
it at times it because sometimes you may have to blurt it out. So you have to have that. That's why I said divine time. You have to be able to have that divine time because, again, oh Lord, it's not about you.
Yes.
I want that person to receive what I'm saying so that they can grow. And if I say it at the wrong time, it can either push them away or bring them closer, right? So either
Mhm.
they can receive that message I'm giving or they cannot receive it. So again, it's not about me. It's always about the other person. I want to give them this message right now, but then I have to sit down and think, will they get it right now? Will they receive it right now? And this is where that
Mhm.
This is where the thinking of the other person comes in. Nope, they're not going to get it right now. My wife just had a hard day. She ain't trying to hear this right now. You dig?
Mm-hmm.
She ain't trying to hear it. So let me chill for a second. And
Right.
when things get better, now you might be able to say it. Listen, what happened here, bop, 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 bop. And she might be able to receive it a lot better than soon as she walk into the door bombarding it. I mean, all of us have done that. All of us that work, when you come home from a hard day's work, you want to hear all the madness? No, you don't.
Mm.
You
I
don't.
need a moment.
You need a moment to breathe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I wanna read what Kwaki said. He said the concept of submission for wives mentioned in passages like Ephesians 5:22 through 24 is understood by many as respect and support, not blind obedience or inferiority.
There you go. You worked it out.
And is viewed in conjunction with the husband's call to sacrificial love and leadership. Yeah, like I
That's
think that's so important because submission is such a huge topic, but we don't talk about how sometimes men will want you to
well.
follow blindly.
That's the thing. Obedience is something that God demands. There is no decision or choice. It's either you gonna follow him or you ain't. That's just what it is, right? Submission is a choice when it comes to
It has to make sense though, right?
it. Absolutely, it's a choice. She's saying, "I'm going to give my life to you," so
Mm-hmm.
it's a choice. So the simplest way I could answer that, or fortify what he was saying, because he wasn't wrong. He was 100% submission from a woman. You get that response when you have Christ-like leadership. There is no other response. So when
I
you have
agree.
Christ-like leadership, the only answer to that is submission. So
Mm-hmm.
you need to really look at yourself and say, is my leadership in conjunction, in parallel, similar, emulating Christ-like leadership? If not, then there's some tweaking you need to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree. And I think that's what a lot of people miss today.
Well, and also understand too that as you know the lead, there are going to be decisions that's made that your significant other is not going to like. There were
Mm-hmm.
decisions that Christ made the 12 didn't like, but they understood at the end of the day, I trust him. And
Right.
that's where that relationship, when that trust is built, and she knows who you are and what you are, where you are, and who you serve, then when you say, nah, we ain't doing this, there might be a little huff and puff, but she's going to respect,
Mm-hmm.
not out of the fear for you. So this is what we need to understand as men. That fear doesn't come for you. That fear comes for who you represent.
Mm-hmm.
Same as you, right? This is how it works. This is why Christ, when you read Ephesians, the scripture that he pulls out, this is why Christ keeps telling you, I'm the head of the body. Okay? In this army, he's the general. In this army. Now, there's different levels, right? Captains, lieutenants, corporals, so forth and so on. Everybody has someone to answer to. But ultimately, we all answer to Christ. So what does he say? Wife, submit to your husbands as you would submit them to me in all things, right? Period.
Mm-hmm.
Then he comes back, and that was 3 verses he gave. Now to the men, he says, all right, guys, I just gave y'all a lot of power. So y'all gonna need some extra instructions, because again, you can't take that authority and misuse it. You can't take that authority and abuse it. You can't take
Right.
you can't take that authority and just willy-nilly not understand what it's about. You have
Mm-hmm.
to understand that it's fragile. You have to understand that it needs to be nourished. Have to understand it needs to be protected. It needs to be guided. You have to understand that. And what better,
Absolutely.
what better example? The way I did it. He's the
Mm-hmm.
only example. So the way I treated the church, you treat your wife. So
Mm-hmm.
to step back and say, hold on.
Why don't men talk about that part?
because it makes them sound like they're weak when you talk about saying, listen, I have to nurture it and all this. And I think that men in this day and age, it's like you have a person that hasn't had a voice for
Mm-hmm.
for 30 years. They've been mute for 30 years. And then on the 31st year, the Lord blesses them with a voice. You know that person got 30 years of stuff to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
30 years. Men haven't had a voice for a long time. So now with social media breaking through, men got a lot to say.
I get that part too. Hey, Emperor, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I pray that all is well with your mom. I keep her in my prayers. So, is it that men don't have not had a voice? I feel so different about that because I feel that for so long women didn't have a voice. They were the ones who had to just shut up and do what they were told and take care of the home, the family, and you don't have an opinion.
Well,
So
you have
I think we're just stepping into a place where women and men, both parties, have a voice. And
well,
that's why there's so much conflict because both sides feel like they have held in so much.
it depends on context. You have to look at it, right? Even in slavery, men never had a voice. Slavery, men couldn't talk. What could they say? The woman was more protected than the men were in slavery because
Right, that's
you were
true.
more of a commodity, and that transferred to now.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the woman is wrong, they hear you. Even in court systems, it weighs heavily towards the woman. How many times can you
That's true.
can you say a man won his child opposed to this woman? She's just bad and she has it. That man has to fight. Women don't
That's
have to fight
true.
that hard, right? So again, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to say that there isn't nuance to it. It is. However, when you're talking about a voice being heard, a man's voice had to be fought to be heard. Even though
Mm-hmm.
we've had that power, that's what you're talking about. We've had that power just from the natural order of things, just from the
Mm-hmm.
natural order. But now men are just getting this mic. This is why this whole weekend, what have been
Mm-hmm.
what I've been talking about? Submission.
Right.
This is what they're talking about. Submission, 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 submission. They're not talking about their portion of how to gain submission, right? They're not talking about that. They're
Mm-hmm.
talking about submission because every time I hear them talk, I'm like, I understand your point, but the reason why she's not submitting to you is because you didn't give her nothing to submit to.
Mm.
Even with a cat, how do you get that cat to come to you? You got to put a bowl of damn milk on the floor. The cat
That's
comes. The cat
true.
will come to you. I don't understand it, but we have a voice now. So
Mm-hmm.
there again, like I said, you have 30 years of a person not being able to talk.
Right. That's so
Now,
true. Thank you, Emperor, for coming through. I appreciate you. True Bleed, I will soon. Yeah, so it's amazing. Like I, I think that men feel the same way that women do, you
you know,
know?
it's a crazy thing. If
Because
you
maybe we are thinking about the now, but my aunties, like my mom's, because it was 13 of them total. My mom was one of the youngest siblings, but her older sisters were taught to, like back in their day, they did not have an opinion. They just took care of home. They did what they were told, even if the men were abusing their power. They had to
That's a
take
good
it. You get what I'm saying? So it's I don't know. Hey, Stanley.
like I said, even in that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
men had the only thing they had was the power of
Mm-hmm.
you understand what I'm saying? So again, when you have something
Mm-hmm.
overly exerted and it's pushed on you, it's only natural for people to push back.
Absolutely.
It's only natural for people to push back. So here it is. We have women being pushed, push, 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 push. And the scriptures talk about that too, that the woman
Mm-hmm.
meant the man. And then you have the men like, nah, man. You know, it's like what mind boggles me. This is what mind boggles me, that we sit here and we talk about, all these, and this is the talking points, right? You have the women talk about the men being off and not doing what they're supposed to do, and you have the men saying women are off and not doing what they're supposed to do. And the crazy thing is, when you hear a woman talk or you hear a man talk and they're off the deep end, that should just light them up to say, I need to stay away from them.
Yeah. Mhm.
Let me maneuver around that and find me a man or a woman that's gonna be the opposite of that. I don't need to spend 30 hours on it, right? But it's a moneymaker. It's a grab. It's a grab. No one
Mhm.
wants to hear the conversation of trying to make things work. They don't want no one wants to hear that. You're gonna get 8 people in your YouTube channel.
Mm.
You know what I'm
That
saying?
is so true.
What people want to hear is the
So
madness.
drama.
That's what they want to hear. They want to hear the arguments. They want to hear this and they want to hear that. And you know what it brings me back to? It brings me back to excuse me. It brings me back to Noah's Ark.
Mhm.
It brings me back to Noah's Ark. And what did Noah's Ark represent? Because when we read that story, it represented something. It represented timing, it represented patience, it
Mhm.
represented adversity, it represented
Right.
beginning, right? So let's walk these things down.
Mhm.
Represented timing because the Lord gave Noah 120 years and 7 days to build his ark. And
Right.
seldomly do people talk about the 7 days. And me personally, this is Bolo talking. Me personally, I think the 7 days was the most important of that 120 years. Let me explain why.
And then isn't time viewed differently than what the way that we see years and days?
No, I mean, we're talking from God's perspective and man's perspective. It took Noah 120 years, Li-
Oh, okay, I get you.
literally,
Hey, Urban.
literally. So
Um,
why I say the 7 days means more. Why I say what's going on, Urban? Why I say, um, what did he say? Salute Bolo, good debate. Oh,
oh,
why I say
hold
that?
on.
Yeah, good debate at Fatty Channel.
Oh, you was at Fatty Channel.
Yeah,
I just
like I
watched
said,
it.
I think I was there for like 5 minutes. I don't think I was there for long.
Wow. Can you send me the clip though?
I didn't clip it.
I
Listen.
know. I just well tell me what live it was because you do so well. Like when people challenge, I guess
I'll tell you.
their beliefs. Just send it to me. I want to see it
So
because I don't went back and forth with Fatty too. Shout out to
no,
Fatty.
it wasn't with Fatty. It wasn't
Oh,
with.
it wasn't. I went back and forth a few times with Fatty, but it was on his channel.
Yeah, it was on the Fatty Channel. But
Oh, okay.
when we look at, and again, this is me talking, right? This is not scriptorial. On why I'm saying that the 7 days meant more to me than the 120. This is my preference, right? Why
Mhm.
it meant more to me is, when have you ever seen animals lined up? I've never seen that
Mhm.
in my life.
Right.
When have you, when have you ever seen them lined up to get into some damn boat? to get to,
Mhm.
when have you? So I can understand you telling me, yo, Bolo, man, it's gonna rain. It never rained before. Yo, Bolo's gonna rain. I'm like, man, mind your business. You crazy. No, it's not. You've said that to me for 70 years and it's never rained.
Mhm.
But the day I'm walking down the street and I see rabbits, chipmunks, eagles, snakes, birds, lions, bears, all of them in a row, just taking one step. You know how when you get on the line and one person moves up, then you take a step? You
Right.
know, when you see that happening, doesn't that pique your interest? It would pique mine,
It does. Yep.
but none of these people did that, right? It's not
Mm.
it's not until the door was closed that everybody decided, I want to get in. And it was too late,
Wow.
because you have to understand the Lord shut Noah in. And this is what people tend to forget. There's a timetable. So when you hear all this noise and people talking and all this rhetoric, and here we are as believers, hey guys, get ready, God's coming back.
Mhm.
Get ready, God is coming back. Nobody hears us. If anything, yeah, man, please. They've been saying that for thousands of years and such and such. Okay.
Mhm.
When that door is closed behind you, you only have you to blame. And when
Mhm.
that door is closed, you ain't getting in. because you had more than enough time to get in. So that's why, to me, if someone says something off, I'll go up and do my best to correct it. Because I believe I was on his channel. It had to be about 45 minutes before it was time to get up on the stage, because there were so many people. It might have been less than that. But me waiting, and it show you patience, right? Show you me waiting for the half hour to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I only spoke for 5 minutes, if that. Made my point, said what I had to say, and said, thank you for having me. I'm out.
What? Oh, like you did on another channel too.
Same as, yeah. I mean,
I have to learn to do that. I have a hard time.
it's not easy because there's so many things you want to go. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that as I'm waiting to say the point that I was making, that so many different things didn't come on my mind. I had like 5 scriptures open, but in my mind, I'm knowing
Mm-hmm.
I can't give all 5. So I have to give the best one that I can give and the one that's going to stick. You made a point. You were completely off with the point that you made. And I think her response to me was, well, I didn't read that part.
This was on Fatty's channel.
Yeah. And her response to me was, I didn't read that part. And I was like, well, how are you going to sit here and push a narrative and you didn't even read it? You read
Mm.
that one part that felt good to you. You read that part and that was it. When 3 verses above says something totally different.
It's
Then
so
she
important to
then she
read it
moved the
all.
goalpost. Yeah. Then she moved the goalpost. And I was like, listen, at the end of the day, the point was made. I'm going dipset. And that's what I did. I jumped out and I hope that, my words was eloquent enough to get the point across that we have to
Mhm.
be. And that, you know, um, our jobs, and I said this, that our jobs are different.
Right.
God loves us the same. He
Mm-hmm.
loves men, he loves women, but our purpose is different. Our purpose is not the same. So men cannot do what women do, and women can't do what men do. This is
Right.
this is why the right hand fits into the right glove. Too many of us are sticking our hand into the wrong size glove,
Mm-hmm.
and it's uncomfortable. You stick your hand, you got a large hand, you sticking your hand to a damn small glove. It's uncomfortable. You're trying to make your hand fit into all 5 slots and it just doesn't fit. And if you manage to stick your hand in it, it's uncomfortable. So when
Mm-hmm.
you know that this woman isn't the one for you, because you don't know who you are, you haven't taken the time to get to know who you are. And this goes for both men and women.
Mm-hmm.
Our job as men, the woman is supposed to put her hand into the glove.
Mm-hmm.
This example. But if she's too small, she's the wrong person for you. But how do you know she's
Mm-hmm.
the wrong person for you? You have to know what the right person for you looks like. And that goes for the women too. You have to know what the right person for you looks like so that
What
you
if
can.
what if that person is right for you, and what if the relationship is just not being? What if there are things that both parties may be missing about each other as far as how that person may need to be loved? It doesn't necessarily mean that the person is not right for you. It could just
Just
be the specific small details that you could miss in something, and it could create issues.
we spoke about that earlier, right? There's nuances to it that you have to figure out. There's
Hmm.
nuances. If it's worth fighting for, it's worth fighting for. It just is what it is. And you'll figure it out.
Hmm.
Here's the thing. Like I said before, the only perfect marriage I've ever seen, and I'll stand strong on this. The only perfect marriage I've ever seen is when 2 people won't give up on each other. That's,
Right.
that's it. No matter what they go through, no matter how the ups and downs, I ain't going nowhere. I'm here.
Hmm.
I can't understand. It depends on what's being done and things of that nature. So, but in
Right.
in general. You know,
Hi, Angel. Right. So Scorch said, "Where is God in their relationship, my love?" I would hope that God is in the relationship. Uh, I don't know. I
well,
was just speaking in general. Like
right.
I have watched two really decent people hook up, and sometimes they may just miss specific details.
What that the point of the matter is, that's the problem right there. They're hooking up, right?
Well, I didn't mean hook up.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but this is why I'm saying the
Yeah.
point that I'm making is the words that we use
Mm-hmm.
will hold it against you, right?
Right. Well,
So
I mean, in a committed relationship,
there you
working
go.
towards marriage or married.
There you go. So when
Yes.
you say certain things, they're gonna hold on to that. And they're gonna say, well, hold on, Mo, you were talking about hooking up, even though they knew what you meant.
They know I'm not about the hookup
No, no, no,
type
I'm
of,
just saying
but I get what you're saying.
this is what the enemy will do.
Yes.
He will know the point that you're making, but to throw everybody off and everything off, he'll say, but you said hookup. So you have to stay cold-blooded in the shark's water and make sure that the words that you use are impeccable to the
Mhm.
best of your ability, because again, this is what they're going to marinate on. They're going to marinate on that. So I understood the point you was making. I definitely understood.
Who is, do y'all know who these people are? Mr. Bless and
I don't see. I don't see
I
them.
don't know who it is. I see Angel. Hi, Angel. I'll let Angel up. Hey, Angel, how are you?
Hey Mo Love,
How have you been?
been doing all right.
That's good. I'm so happy you're here. I don't know who else is in the bag, but I'm not trying to get.
Did
Let
you
me put the
you
banner up
you
here.
drop the link?
I did.
I didn't see that. Okay, now I see it. Oh, okay.
Oh, he said it's me, 84. So your name is Mr. Bless in the word 84. I don't know. Let me see. Let me put this banner up real quick. Do you think it's him? Am I tripping?
Put the banner up. That's the only way to find out.
Dang. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me find it. Um,
I love your background.
thank you. I think I need to change it. I'm too busy.
It's me,
Hey.
Mo. It's me. It's me.
Oh, okay. I gotta be careful.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Why you change your picture?
It's a new season. it
This really you?
is me. Hey.
It, all right. Just gotta be.
Scorch, whatever, dog. He's scorching the comments, sucking trash. I see you.
What did you say? Oh, okay. So Coffee said before that or even going into anything, we need to make sure at least the person has something you are looking for or speaks to you biblically.
One
Hmm.
hundred percent. One hundred
Absolutely.
percent. But you have to have that. A lot of the times that I find out that, um, especially with the people that we talk to, the people that I'm counseling, they blame the other person. You know,
Hmm.
you might have been in a relationship with, or whatever the situation might be, right? They blame the other, whether it be a guy or a gal. And then when you find out and say, okay, hold on, and you ask them questions about themselves and they really don't know, you say, well, then how do you blame that person when you was freestyling?
Right. So,
How do
hey, Scorch, I see you in the back, but it's saying that you have to connect your device or something. I can't even like it doesn't give me the option of even bringing you up. Coffee said, look at the comment before. Okay, it says that reference back to a topic you've had before on another channel, building your mate's confidence and self-esteem. Man did not agree and trashed the topic as insecurities, especially when a man But before that, or even going into anything, we need to make sure at least the person has something you are looking for or speaks to you biblically.
But that goes into you knowing what you want. That goes into knowing who. And this is why the Lord tells you love your brothers as you love yourself.
Right. That's you, right, Scorch?
Yep.
Yeah, you know
Okay.
you have to love yourself first. When
Mm-hmm.
you love yourself, you know that you want to be treated a certain way. You know you want to be reverenced a certain way. You know you want to be talked to a certain way.
Absolutely.
You want to be all these different things, right? And you put yourself in a position to have these things, right? You you
Mm-hmm.
you manage your relationship with God. You're walking in intentionality. You're directional. Your integrity and your character is cool. You're doing all these things. So now once you get in there, you're gonna say, okay, this is what I need to add to me. This is what
Yes.
now when you talk and you go courting women, if they don't add to you, move on.
Right.
Our problem is we spend more time getting our credit right than we spend time getting to know somebody.
Mm.
You'll spend time trying to get your credit right to go buy that house. You spend time with doing this and you'll read the letters that you need to send out and blah blah blah. But with this woman or with this man, you ready to go in.
Mm.
Sit down and vet this guy. You don't sit down and talk to this
Hey,
guy.
Vaughn. Right.
And you blame him when he's not the guy that you thought he was. That's not his fault. That's your fault. And it's hard to come to that conclusion because when you realize you're the problem, you then have to be able to fix it because you're the problem.
Right. But do you also view the manipulative party as the problem as well?
When you know what you want, when you know what you want and you're there and you take your time, how can you be manipulated?
I agree with that. Mm-hmm.
You know what you want. This is why when we had that conversation about the guy that kept talking about birds and birds this,
Mm-hmm.
birds that, and birds this and birds that. I'm thinking the dude. I'm I'm thinking the dude is married. So when I asked him, "Are you married?"
I'm
He says,
sorry. I'm sorry.
"You good, AJ?" When I asked him if he was married, he says, "No." I said, "Dude, so you have a woman?" "Yeah, I got a bird." I don't even want to hear you talk no more. You have nothing
Right.
to say to me at this point. So
Hold on, Angel. Okay.
you know what I'm saying. So
Okay. I love you, Angel.
you have to look at the credibility of the person that you're allowing to pour into you.
Mm-hmm.
Be it man or be it woman, because sometimes these guys and sometimes these girls are full of crap. Like I said,
They
if
are.
if that woman, what that woman said, nobody could say anything to them. When she
Mm-hmm.
said no man is supposed to teach a woman, and she pulls out Titus 2 and 4, no man could say something. No one said nothing to her. But hold on now, let me bring clarity because you're totally off and totally wrong.
That's
How
so
the
off.
hell am I supposed to lead you and I can't teach you? How am I supposed to lead
Exactly.
you? I can't nourish you. How am I supposed to guide you? You know what I'm saying? So even in its statement, it's asinine. But biblically, no one could say anything because
Mm-hmm.
no one read it. But now when we read it, now your shadow that you came, the cloak of darkness you came in, now there's light in the room. So you can't come that way, route no more. So now you're gonna move it. Oh, well, you're not an apostle. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You're talking about I'm not an apostle. Okay, cool. Is that what you're going with?
Exactly.
Read the whole chapter. Is that what you're going with? All
Mm-hmm.
right, I'm good. Y'all have a blessed day. I did my job. Y'all figure it out from there.
Holla
So,
at you, because you already know when it's gonna go into something
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
too
You know,
too much.
Fatty,
So
Fatty said, because when I
mm,
went there, right, I said, listen, I'm going to go into the scriptures. Fatty said, and I'm not going to use his words, but he said, listen, Bolo's going to speak, and if he makes it a biblical sermon for 3 minutes, let him make it a biblical sermon for 3 minutes, and then we'll go back to talking about this and talk. But he used, real words.
exactly.
Then we'll talk about this and talk about that. I had to laugh. I had to say,
Yeah.
I had to laugh, but
Hmm.
that's what it was.
Yeah. So okay, Coffee said it is a number of things bottled up in one, and it starts with a checklist on self. One,
Ooh.
trauma and upbringing, and being able to be okay with it before making yourself available. Mm. Dealing with all of that childhood trauma, that, oh my gosh, you are speaking
He
facts.
gets the bomb drop for that.
Two, sibling rivalry.
Ooh.
Oh, oh, coffee.
You get the bomb drop for that too.
Right. Three, inner cleansing physically and healing mentally.
Oh
My
my
God, this
God.
is good.
You get the horn for that one.
You better let the Lord use you. Four, being okay with things your own mother and father kept from you and could not and would not tell you. That's so good. So I do. Angel, did you have anything to say? I think you came up first. Was there anything you wanted to say in regards to the topic, Angel? If you're there, maybe Angel stepped away.
Um,
Who came up next? I
you,
think Angel.
you might be on mute, Angel, if you're
Are
talking.
you talking on mute, Angel?
Okay. Go to 84.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, hey, Angel. So, did you want to add to the topic, like why patience is important, or your views on
Well,
like?
as the old saying goes, patience is a virtue. I believe patience is necessary because of the fact that everything takes time, and time is patience. And at the end of the day, time is as much value as patience is. And I believe patience is necessary because of how everything is like having us wait for it.
Mhm.
Like when you order through DoorDash, you know you have to wait, and that's being patient for your order, and so on. So I believe patience is necessary because of the fact that it's time valued.
That's so good, Angel. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
But I'm sorry for laughing. It's just when Bolo was describing one of your prior guests that talked about birds, that was hilarious how he described it. Birds this, birds that.
Oh, coffee. Uh, so my view on that is, did Angel ever recruit from letting those racist people get in his head and start to tell him to go against black people and use very bad words against them? So me and Angel have had a discussion. We've had this on my channel as well as my sister, and he knows that certain words are not to be used here. And I also say that sometimes as soon as the angel shows up, people automatically start making fun of him. So he is already in a mental state of fight back, if that makes sense. So the chats are not always innocent either, but I don't condone that, and I've checked him on that. Right, Angel? You're not going to use that,
Yeah,
right?
that's correct.
Okay, cool. Hi, Waldo. So did you want to, what are your comments? 84 Scorch, whoever wants to chime in.
I'm only up here because somebody booed me in a DM. You know what I mean? I got
I
booed for no
did.
reason.
I said, oh, boo, you on another panel? Oh.
Dang, I can't even be on another panel. Dang.
Oh, you did. Oh,
You ain't
that's
wait, hold on. You ain't
right.
even dropped the stream, y'all, when you sent that. It's a difference you dropped the stream, y'all. Salute to my brother Raldo in the comments. What's good? What's good?
Hey,
Oh,
Rhonda.
Raldo coming through. Okay, Raldo's coming through. Cool, cool. Let's go. Let's go. You know what I mean? So,
Shout out to Raldo.
shout out to the homie Raldo, man. He had an amazing live. And that's a live that I was featured on, you know what I mean, for a little bit before I came up here, you know what I mean, before Mo Love even dropped the stream, y'all, and heard coming at me that I wasn't here, but whatever. Uh,
That is so funny.
uh, you know
Because
what I'm
I sent
saying?
Did I send you the live and then you sent me a live that you were on? I
No, no,
guess
I
you
sent
just said
mine
because you
first,
was
and then you
wound up.
sent me yours after that.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But I'm here, Mo
So
Love. I'm here. I'm here. You ain't got to boo me no more. I'm here. All right. I'm here. You know what
so
I mean?
would you like to add to
Don't throw no
the
tomatoes at me. All right.
I'm not, I promise. Would you like to add to the topic or the things
Why
that you heard
patience
us
is
do?
necessary?
Nathan, beautiful Nathan.
Nay, what's going on, Gremlin? What's
Hi,
good?
gorgeous. I love her.
Yeah, that's
Nathan is
family right there, man.
everything. Mm-hmm.
Salute to the Fantastic Four, man. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you will know soon. Um, but yeah, I will say this. I think patience is definitely necessary. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and patience, that's how you see, you know, what somebody's motives is, what their motives are not, and you're able to
Mm-hmm.
delegate whether you should be with someone or not. You know what I mean? And if you're not, or just if a situation is good or not. Sometimes we want something or we feel like something is right, but just because we may feel that way, you know what I mean? Time reveals all motives and all things. So we got to let time reveal it. The time reveal whether the
That is so
situation,
true.
whether relationally or even in a business setting, whether or whatever setting, whether it is right for us or not. Or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, it's good, to hold your tongue, to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and that requires patience, right? You know what I
Oh
mean?
my
Because sometimes you
God.
can't speak on the matter first. Sometimes you have to listen and see that, okay, are my words needed in this moment or needed at all? Because sometimes you don't have to say
Mm-hmm.
nothing at all. Sometimes you gotta let God just work out whatever's going on. Sometimes your words ain't even, or somebody else work it out. Maybe God gonna use somebody else.
Right.
Maybe you don't want to use you, right? For whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason. So, but I think the hardest thing to be patient with, as always, that we always know, is men and women relationships. So let's just go there
Yes.
because that's where it always ends up. So you know what I
It's
mean?
very difficult.
Well, okay. It's it's difficult because we have in our minds what we believe that we want and need, right? And some of
Mm-hmm.
these things are accurate. I will never tell nobody not to have their own boundaries and standards of who they want to choose, right?
Right.
Because you eventually, if you choose a person you're going to be with, you eventually have to live with this person and y'all may create a family. So definitely know what you want and need out of the situation. So I'll never say not to do that, but in that you have to still be patient with the process. It may not happen in that moment. It may happen later on. It may not happen at all, right? But that's what patience requires, right? And
Mm.
also, if you are, dealing with the fruits of the spirit, and you really are living in that, that one, part of that is being patient. You know what I mean? It's not just doing things spontaneously. No, it's being patient, allowing God to work, allowing God to show you what is and what's not, and boom, then from there you're able to decipher. Okay, is this person right for me or wrong for me? You know what I mean? And
Right.
a person
Mm-hmm.
right for you, you know what I mean? They'll never ever try to push you into something, you know what I mean, or try to or and they also will not be they'll also be considerate of what you feel and who you are and where you're at in your relationship with God.
Yeah.
So
It this
if you're not seeing these things, then yeah, you
mm-hmm.
already know what time it is. You know this person not the right one for you, and maybe they
And
just got to get some growth and be better. Go ahead, Mo. I'm
that's
sorry.
so good. No, that's so true. Patience, like you said, in relationships is the most difficult because people don't reveal their true selves immediately. Like that. What do they say? They show up with their help me.
Representative.
Yes. And then without patience, like we miss the layers beneath whatever those surface behaviors are. It's easy to pretend, in the beginning, but eventually the truth will reveal itself. Hey, Coach Ferg. Hey, Vaughn. I spoke to you, but I don't know if you heard me. So, Coach Ferg said the Most High is not patient. He gives you the rules and plays and expects you to play the game within the rules or suffer the consequences. Um, the Most High is not patient. I think that at times the Most High may not be patient, but we know that there are times when He's patient. That's why He allows us grace. So you have to absolutely have patience to extend grace, in my opinion. Vaughn said, "The Lord is not slow about his promise, as some count slowness, but is patient toward you, not wishing for any to perish." I love that scripture, but for all to come to repentance. So, what's your response, Coach Bird? I agree with that, Coffee. To fail and miss time and time again is being human, and that can make you bitter. Yeah, if you don't deal with that thing. You will have those moments asking, how could I have been so blind? Absolutely. Scorch, would you like to add your thoughts?
How we doing tonight, Mo Love? In,
Good.
in
How are you?
in panel.
Scorch, what's good,
What's up,
man?
84? A- Angel and the co-host, my main man, Bolo.
What up?
Acknowledge me, sir.
What up, my G?
Okay, yeah, I had to make. That's why I came on because he's been real silent every time you mention my name. So I had to make sure he didn't have no internal issues with his brother.
Okay, I got you.
See how quiet he got.
Mm-hmm.
We got an issue, Bolo.
Nah, I've been talking for a long time, so I'll let you people get you out.
Oh, don't come up with that lame excuse, man. Don't
I,
do that.
He
Don't
ain't
do
lying.
that.
He has been talking for a while. He ain't lying about that.
Well, that's it. That's his fault.
it is my fault, so I'm letting y'all
Yeah.
know.
How many times has your big bro told you need to chill out for a minute?
I'm chilling out, brother. When I do chill out, you want me to talk.
No, no. You did this on your own.
My
That
bad.
is so funny. Coffee, you are speaking some real things in the chat. Brandon, too. Love is patient, love is kind, God is love. A
Uh,
logical entailment would be that God is indeed patient. Yeah, I thought so too.
uh,
Coach
all,
Jackson,
all,
God is not patient. He gives us the rules and boom, you follow them or you suffer the consequences.
if that was the case, we all be dead right now. So most definitely, God has patience with us. So we
Okay.
have to, what basically everybody has said so far is basically on point, and ain't a lot that I can add to that. But I will say this: if we're talking about relationships,
Mm-hmm.
mainly marriage between a man and a woman, that's why I said what I said. God is so important in that. Where's God at? Because if you have took the time to sit up there and vet someone before you say I do, even when the problems occur, there
Mm-hmm.
should be no issues if both of you guys are focused on God. As Bolo
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, the only perfect marriage that you will find between a man and a woman is when both of them are not concerned about their own egos, but about the concern of that one that they're with. And
Mm-hmm.
most times, what we find is we don't have the patience for God to do the work within not just ourselves, but also within the partner that we chose to be in holy matrimony with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only speaking of marriages because when you talk about relationships outside of a marriage, that isn't really that's not that's what it is, a relationship. You can't expect for anything outside of a marriage.
What do you mean? Don't you have to go through that process first?
What I mean by that is most times when most, not all, I'm gonna preface that, but let's be real about it. Ain't too many people you running into today that's virgins.
Right.
And a lot of them are walking around with babies, outside babies. They done been married before, divorced, the whole nine. So what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying is, when I speak on things of such as this thing, we're kind of put ourselves out of alignment when it comes into the thing of we mix relationships between each other, and I'm talking about a man and a woman,
Mm-hmm.
and we compare that and almost put it in correlation as if we're married, and we're not. and then we expect the things of what it is that we expect of the patience, the love, the kindness, the all these things that comes inside of a marriage of what is supposed to go on when it comes to things of that nature. But we already prematurely are doing it before we say I do. And then
Mm-hmm.
we expect the God's blessing upon that when we was already out of alignment with him from the get-go.
That's really good.
So what Bolo said earlier was correct, which you had mentioned, and even with Angel in 84. All of you
Mm-hmm.
said something that I mean, it's not a whole lot I can add on to that. But to Coach Ferg, when he turned around and said, God is very patient. And just as well as we're supposed, as husbands, supposed to be patient with our wives, because we represent Christ. And it's our marriage, it's us as believers, we're
Mm-hmm.
married to Christ. How does Christ treat us? And how do we treat Christ? So when
Right.
we get into these marriages with our, and I'm speaking as a husband, when we get into these marriages with our wives, we sometimes take in the thing and make it eternal to the point of I'm not going to allow this or that, not realizing that when we do this, because our wives are not doing something that we may agree with or we may not like, we're
Mm-hmm.
ready to replace. Well, if Christ wasn't patient with us, wouldn't he replace us? And he hasn't. He said he's
Right.
married to the backslider.
Mm-hmm. That's
See,
true.
so in that aspect, you know, we talk about submission and things of that nature, but I've always lived by this rule. You show me a woman that's submitted to God's word, I'll show you a wife. You show me
Mm-hmm.
a man that love God's word, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll show you a husband. Because when you have them two aligned in on, it's no matter what they may encounter, when they're both on that same page and they know what their job is,
Mm-hmm.
submitted to him first, they're gonna work it out.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Even when one decides that they may want to back out, but as long as it's one, it's like a triangle. You got the two at the bottom pointing up, and at the helm of it as Bolo always says this, it always falls on the husband because we are the head.
Mm-hmm.
So in that note, Bolo, I know you thought I was coming on here to sit up there and chime at you, but I wasn't. See, I actually came up here and supported you, bro.
I wasn't saying nothing, brother. I was sitting here listening. That's it.
So Coach Berg said, I have no response. All life's paths are different. The one he set before me has blessed me beyond my imagination. He said, go, and I went. He said, stop, and I stay. So you didn't have a problem with obedience, I guess. But there are some who do. And I think that's where the patience and the grace is shown.
Well,
Yeah.
I can agree with what Coach Ferd is saying right there. Yes, but I mean, for him he made it like a broad statement. Like, no, if that was the case, none of us would be living because the minute that we do something outside of His will, we gone. That's what he did. I mean, that was the whole basis of why Christ came in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we couldn't live to the according to the scripture, to the commandments of the Old Testament.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why he tells us to be patient with show patience towards one another, because he's been patient towards us. So I agree with what he's saying, but in that aspect of how he's saying, he make it seems like it's like, hey, you don't. He's in a sense, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
keep blowing up. You keep blowing up the spot or whatnot. Apparently, or eventually, you're gonna be the one blown up with the spot.
Yeah, that's good. So Coffee said he or she had everything I thought I wanted. They are a nice person, but I just couldn't I just couldn't make it work. I did not want him or her then, but I regret it now. All these things we have thought about, absolutely. Why is that though? I don't know. You could have the right.
Because for one, I believe because of, for one, we're never satisfied with what it is that we chose in the first place. Or
Mm,
if we see something that's going wrong with that individual,
mm-hmm.
we feel like we are too above to help them through that.
Yes, like you see all of these good things, but then you decide that you don't want them, and then the person ends up regretting it later. Like, why is that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, you might it may be a number of things because of the fact that some of us we have to. Some of us hasn't been healed from the pain and stress of the relationships we've had before we got with the one that could have been the right one.
Mm-hmm.
Too much of experience of you know I've had this certain type of lifestyle this whole life, and now I done turn around and I done met someone that doesn't quite meet up to the standards of what I'm used to. Yeah, it makes me feel good when I'm around her and things of that nature, but at the end of the day, she ain't what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I'm always out there looking for the next big fix.
Mm. Mm-hmm. So, um, in regards to God not being patient, Coach Burke said, he is not patient when he punishes us, not just in death. Vaughn said he's a God of wrath as well. Yep, that's true.
Well, he both of them are absolutely right, but on the flip side of that, how many times do we actually want to talk about his wrath? All we ever talk about is how patience and how he's love, but we don't understand through his love that he will whip our tail when we mess up. The
Mm-hmm.
wages of sin is death, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct? So therefore, if you continue on in that sin, eventually death will come to you. It may come to you eternally, it may come to you spiritually.
Yeah, the word does say the end of whatever that is, disobedience is destruction. Absolutely.
So I mean, and like I said, I agree with what he's saying, but it's through his grace that God has found on all of us and his mercy that it is shows a level of patience that he has with us. Because if we continue, I mean, if you look at what's going on in the world today, right now, I mean, his word is what it is. It hasn't. It will not be mocked. He said, in the last days, the days will be like the days of Noah. What was going on in the days of Noah? It would be like the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. What are we looking at today in this world? And we walking around here and we're still playing. So believe me, he's being very patient right now because if he wanted to, he could just wipe us all out just like that.
Man, that's so true. There are so many comments I just want to read that are so good. Um, so Coffee said, letting it happen and letting go. This is in regards to love and relationships. Letting it happen and letting love incomplete with all the mistakes you have made and being worry free. It will show up in the right way. Mhm. So he said basically, Coach Spark is saying, be still and listen for when to move. Mm-hmm.
Agree with that.
With that. Brandon said Romans 2 and 4, or do you presume on the riches of his kindness and forbearance and patience, not knowing that God's kindness is meant to lead you to repentance? Oh, I was supposed to read that as a question. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or do you presume on the riches of his kindness and forbearance and patience, not knowing that God's kindness is meant to lead you to repentance? Mhm. All of his punishments do not result in death. That's true. Brandon said God is patient. Period. Hmm. Yeah. So, did anybody else want to add to that, or Bolo? Do you have anything in regards to if God is patient?
Well, yeah, we know. Excuse me. We know that the Father is patient. We know that He's great in wrath. So, excuse me. We tend to take His patience for granted, and this is what I think Scorch was talking towards. You know, we tend to take things for granted, and when David said to the Father, "Please allow me to know uh, how short my time is," not
Mm,
for, not for the doom and gloom aspect of it, but taking things for granted and all that other stuff is what he was pertaining it to. We tend to take his mercy and grace for granted. And then when he does strike or he does say, okay, enough is enough, we tend to say, well, he's impatient. It, we tend to think that it just came out of nowhere when it didn't. So, yeah,
mm-hmm.
these conversations that we have are in general. There are nuance to um, these conversations that we're having. So, we might be able to mine out one or two, but to try and mine out everything, how thick the Bible would be, you wouldn't be able to carry it if it had everyone's issues specifically. But the wisdom in the word, the Holy
Mm-hmm.
Spirit, the connection that we have mines out all of that other stuff. So,
Right.
you know, um, he gives us general understanding towards what these men and women were going through. Because a lot of the times we like to put ourselves in a situation that David was in and say, well, I wouldn't have did that. Well, you're not David. So this is
Mm-hmm.
what, our job is to connect with the Lord and connect with the Holy Spirit and read the word and actually, like, I don't know if you guys ever seen the I forget the name of the Christmas show where the spirit of Christmas future, past, and all that stuff. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of sort of what it is, right? Like the spirit will take you into David's life and you're just there looking at what he's doing and how he's doing it. And it's a different mind frame because you have to take yourself out of it and how you think. You have to retrain the way you think because this Western side of the world is totally against what the scriptures push.
Mm-hmm.
Said again, the way this Western side of the world thinks is totally against what the word pushes. So we have to understand that. And when you're able to kill yourself, and I'm using my words, when you're able to kill yourself and be resurrected in the Holy Spirit of Christ, it's a whole
Mm-hmm.
thought process and pattern. So the more you take off of yourself and put on more of Him is life. So yeah, that's my response, or that's my statement.
Yeah, that's really, really good. And I agree. Um, oh, Brandy, yes, I did read it again. Because I was like, hold on, that was a question. Oh, someone named Daryl was trying to come up. I didn't know him. Daryl Lewis, 84. Do you know him?
What's the name?
Daryl Lewis?
Just do the whatchamacallit, Mo.
Yeah, I just
Do the
never
verifying.
seen him. Well, he dropped, so if he tries to come back, I'll allow. Mm-hmm. Did anybody else have any more comments or pertaining to patience or relationships? How patience ties into it?
Scorch ain't got nothing to say.
Uh oh.
Right.
I'm saying what I needed to say.
All right, brother. I just asked a question. There's no need to attack me.
It's action yet. I keep trying to tell you, keep it up.
Coffee said, "My bad, Coffee. Which one? Which ones did I? There's so many. You're right.
What up, though?
Let me
We
see.
asked what's going on, man.
What's up, man? I just woke up, though. Just based
Oh,
on
oh, hold on. Let me read this. Hey, Riaz. So, Coffee said you cannot reach people going on an attack like you've never seen. You did not get over your sin overnight. Real talk. I agree with that. I
Mhm.
say that all the time.
Can I respond? Can I respond to that? Okay.
Mhm,
Now we this is sorry. This is where it gets kind of touchy because
mhm,
because again, you know, depending on how the person presents the correction, the person receiving the correction can take it as that person either one acting like they don't mess up, two uppity, three, all of these things the enemy will use. So you
mhm,
have to understand, right? So if you have a connection or a relationship with this brother or sister or whatever the situation might be, know that this person, they don't have to correct you. Excuse me.
mhm,
No one has to correct you. You know, people can just allow you to continue moving in your folly. So when someone decides to correct you, the first thing in the human defense mode is to think who this person think they are or such and such. It's not always that position that they're coming from. And even if it is coming from that position, it doesn't mean that what they're saying is wrong. So again, how you take it is how you're going to receive it, right? So if I come to 84 and 84 is smoking crack and I scream on him,
mhm,
now he may not like the way I did that. And hell, I may be off for doing it. Doesn't mean what I said was wrong. Now, once he gets over, well, who does dude think he is? You know, he thinks he's better than me, blah, blah. But once he gets past that, hopefully he's able to take that information and build upon it and become a
yeah,
version of himself. Because like, understand, the Lord can use anything and everything to get his word across. He used the donkey. So, you know, don't get so prideful to the point where if someone you don't know comes up to you and says something, it could just be the Holy Spirit moving to give you some type of edification or correction.
mhm. Yeah, I agree with that too. God can use anybody, but I also agree with the fact that it's hard when you come from a very aggressive standpoint. I guess it's okay if you learn to balance that with love also. But there are people who just condemn, 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 and they expect to reach people, and it's no.
But I don't think that's what Coach Ferg was actually putting out there. If that's what the comment was towards. I mean, if
I don't think it was towards that. I
yeah,
was
I,
it.
I don't know the way how that comment was read. I mean, is that what it was? It was pertaining towards what he said, or was it just because it seemed like that's when all of us kind of jumped in on it when it was like, well, hey, you know,
Mm,
you keep up with it. You know, he got his rules. If you don't follow him, he's gonna burn you. But and I mean, technically, what he's saying is
um,
true. But the way how we took it, I mean, that's why I try to reiterate it. Where it's like, no, God is very patient. Because if He wasn't, we all be dead. But in the context of what he was saying,
he said it's not about his comment. Hey, try.
oh, okay. Well, if
Thank
it's
you.
not around his comment, then okay, I take what I say back then.
Yeah. Okay. I think that was just a general statement.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right,
Wait,
my bad.
Yeah.
sorry. That's probably what cops. I just probably said, oh, I had something now. I guess the only reason God is patient with us is because He's made us, and He actually with God as well. As God knows everything before you actually do what you do, and that's why He's patient with us. And patiently forgives us and actually finds a way to guide us, though. Because we can be patient, though, but our patience has limits. God patient doesn't have limits, though. And it also is with God as well, though. He helps those who helps themselves. It's not that you don't have, yes, you have to have faith and you believe in all of that type of stuff, but you're supposed to also learn to also, it's like a test of faith. within yourself, because the true enemy is within, not also outside, because it's both internal, external force that is your struggle. So your struggle is supposed to be within also, because that's why they say you have to look in the mirror to face the demon within, because it is it's inside you and your blood and your veins and stuff like that. It's just you. It's up to you if you want to let it consume you, though. And that's that, man.
Okay. Thank you so much, Riaz. That was good.
Yeah.
So, Coffee said this is why people run from the Mormons on the bikes, the Muslims with the final call, or Jehovah's Witness with their pamphlets called Watchtower. It was based on this one. Okay. Got
Oh,
it. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I think it's dark like this. Send me that. Thank you so much for the cash app. I appreciate you. Um, yeah. Oh, and hey, tough guy. Shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Cal. Shout out to Cal. Thank you for being here. Yeah. So,
Mm, yeah. I just added
patience
that.
and relationships are so huge, though, and I think there's such a. That's why the gender war is a thing now, because people lack patience. We never talk about how we caused our own suffering sometimes because we didn't take our time with the person. You know,
Mm-hmm. Sorry, just a
So
minute.
is that really lack of patience or lack of
love.
I mean,
Thank you.
lack of self awareness and
um, I
accountability?
think it's both, because when you move fast, you miss details that you need
Mm-hmm.
to know.
Yeah,
So lack of patience is huge in that. If
I,
you just want
Mm-hmm.
what you
I
want,
think it's a lack of selflessness.
but it
We're
goes
more selfish than we are selfless.
it goes into again everything that you guys are saying are byproducts of you listen, the tree isn't sick by the fruit, it's sick through the root, right?
Yeah.
mhm,
Okay, so those things that you're saying is a byproduct of them not understanding who they are.
But what the real sickness is.
mhm.
You understand what I'm
Hey,
saying?
sis, is that you?
So that's the issue of what I'm saying, that although everything that you're
I
saying,
don't know if that's her.
well, let up and put up the screen.
Okay.
Block her out until you know it's her.
Let's tell it to came up. Okay.
So like I was saying before,
It's me.
it's definitely.
It's you?
Yes,
Okay.
So, like I was saying before, it's
it's me.
definitely a byproduct. It's definitely a byproduct of not understanding who you
I have
are and
I
what
have too
you
much going on.
or what you're
Oh,
supposed to.
sis, press mute real quick, please.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I
It's
didn't.
okay.
I had too
Yes.
many screens open. Go ahead.
So what I was
I,
saying is
I love your new avatar, T.
it's
Yeah.
just a byproduct of you not being able. It's like you being sick, right? You being sick,
Mhm.
you have symptoms. Those symptoms are supposed to be the direction to the bigger sickness. And typically, if you don't follow where the symptoms are going, you will always have that underlying sickness. So, not having patience, not having accountability, not having all those things, these are symptoms to the biggest sickness. And the biggest sickness is understanding who you are and what you need, what your direction is, what your intentionality is, character, integrity, things of that nature. So
Yeah.
So you
That's
said it's a lack of love, Bolo, or a lack of self awareness.
you can love yourself, but still not have discipline and understanding where you need to be. And again, you know, You have to understand something. I can love basketball, but still don't have the discipline to do it. Right? I just don't have the discipline in getting up 3 o'clock in the morning and shooting 30 shots. So but I love the sport. Right?
Mhm.
So if you don't have the discipline and loving the sport, in the sport, you're not going to excel as you should. You're going to stay stagnant. So it's not just about having love, it's also having action. It's also having discipline. It's also, all of these things move and walk together. There's so many different moving parts to it that helps to build who you are in God, in Christ.
Mhm.
So then once that happens, now when you go into once you learn to have patience with yourself, it's nothing to have patience with somebody else,
Mm.
right?
So
Once you
that's true.
realize,
You said it's not always it's not always an issue with patience. It could be lack of self-awareness. I think it could also be like, well, it's so many dynamics to it. So lack of patience could also be rooted in fear and control.
absolutely. So at,
So
so at the
fear
end of the day,
and everything.
the way you treat somebody is the way you want to be treated. So at the end of the day, if you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, you're not going to have a healthy relationship with anyone else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Wait,
why
can
God tells you, love your brothers as you love yourself. This is why Christ tells you, husbands, I never knew someone that hated themselves. So love your
Mm-hmm.
wife. It starts with you. So once you have that healthy relationship with you, it branches out. So it starts with you. That hurt, that pain, all of these things start with you. So once you can mind those things out, you're
Mm-hmm.
able to, to become a better version of yourself.
mm,
That's true. It does start with you. And I think sometimes we have to love ourselves to love ourselves enough to know when that other person is not properly loving you. So we have to love ourselves enough to walk away,
Yeah, but
right?
we also can't make the mistake of thinking that we're bigger than we are what we really are.
What do you
Sometimes
mean?
what I mean by that is I can walk around with all the self awareness that I think that I have it together, but still show up in a bad place for that person that I'm with.
Mm-hmm.
So
mm,
therefore, I can misconstrue them loving me right because of the fact that I'm not truly loving myself right. So
Mm-hmm.
therefore, my lack of me loving myself it makes it harder for me to see their true love that they may have for me. So in that aspect, I'm gonna turn around and mess it up anyway, and then automatically blame them for it because I'm only thinking of self.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say that it's about the fear of failure and also basically sometimes when we go into our own head and stuff. So it's like self-deprecation as well. That's why when it comes to patience as well, like where we sometimes don't like, patience though is because of deprecating though. Cause like if you feel like you made a mistake, okay, I know everybody make mistakes, but then so sometimes if you internalize what you did wrong or what someone else tell you you did wrong, but you internalize it as well. It's called self-deprecation because you're deprecating yourself. But, you're deprecating yourself though, basically. That's what I'm kind of say though as well. Self-deprecation, and it's also the fear to fail, basically. Because when you fail, though, you learn from something as well. It's just that sometimes though we're afraid to fail because it's something deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And understand this too,
Mm-hmm.
that the brain is such a phenomenal thing. And the brain's job is it wants to protect you. That's what it wants to do.
Right.
And sometimes the way it wants to protect you is not the right way. Sometimes, the brain will project all the inadequacies that you have on everyone else. Sometimes it will say, scorch is the problem, scorch is the issue, scorch is the issue, because the brain wants to protect you from saying, maybe I'm the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So
Or
sometimes,
what if both parties are the issue?
Well, we have to start with you first. I can't, if
Mm-hmm.
you're drowning and I can't swim and I jump in to save you, we're both going to die. So at the end of the day, I got to pay my phone bill before I pay yours. So
Mm.
I got to start, I have to start with me first. So,
Right.
Wait,
so
wait,
once,
so I was gonna ask this question. What if it's subconsciously first and then whatever you subconsciously feel and stuff like that goes to your brain? No. Because it first starts in your how you feel from the inside deep down, that's subconsciously in your subconscious brain first. That's what, it starts and then slowly goes to your brain consciously though. So then you actually feel something, like what you just explained. I feel like it's conscious and subconscious as well. Your subconscious does it first, then you consciously start doing it.
but
Because it's gonna start somewhere first, though.
so this is the thing, right? I like to do this exercise, right? And I would like everybody on the stage to participate with me if they can, right?
See,
So,
I'm gonna let you speak next. Go
okay,
ahead.
so
Mm-hmm.
everybody without opening their mouths, say your name in your head. Okay. Did all of you hear your names? Riaz, did you hear you say your name?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Angel, did you hear you say your name?
Yeah.
T, did you hear you say your name? I don't know if you're talking on mute, T.
She probably walked off for a
Okay.
second.
Scores, did you hear yourself say your name?
I didn't know which one to name, but I said, yeah.
Oh my God. So the point of the matter is, what was that? That you could hear yourself in your head, your mouth ain't open, your mouth is closed. That's your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that you can talk to yourself. You can minister to yourself as long as you understand who you stand in for, right? In other words, who you stand in. As long as you know that you're standing in Christ. So you're able to speak to yourself before you actually speak out. So you can help yourself before you actually help yourself in the flesh. That kind of goes into what Riaz was saying, right? So it starts inwardly, right? This is what the Lord says, not what goes in a person that defiles them, is what comes out. You knew what you was going to say. You decided to say it.
Mm-hmm.
You could have saved yourself from all of that heartache if you would have just, you know. So we have to understand that it starts with us. That's what the Lord wants you to know. It starts with you. Now, that doesn't change the fact that someone
Absolutely.
else might have an issue. It doesn't change the fact that, Bolo might have an issue. That doesn't change that fact. But the difference, people mistake accountability and responsibility. They mistake the two. So let me give you an example of what the two are. Accountability is me saying, I crashed young Riaz's car. That's accountability. I crashed his car.
Mm-hmm.
Responsibility is me saying, I'm going to pay for young Riaz's car.
Yeah.
Understand the difference because we use these words interchangeably and sometimes we mess up the breakdown. So once you understand how words are and what they mean, you then can apply it and it will mean more when you say it to yourself.
Right.
Mm.
I agree. So when it comes to relationships, do you think sometimes people may have a hard time seeing themselves, but they can see the wrong in the everybody else but them? Some people can see everything so clearly but themselves. Do you think that can also be a thing?
It can be a thing. What now we have to now here's where the nuance is. The
Mm-hmm.
nuance of that is it can be a thing where they can see everything in everyone else, but they can't see anything in themselves. But now we have to look at the perspective of the person that is saying, you see everything in everybody else, but you don't see anything in you. How do you know that you're actually picking that up if you're not in a defense mode?
Mm-hmm.
Does that
That's
make sense?
true. Yeah.
So such, as listen, as a manager, your job is to point out what people do wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's your job. And that other person is going to say, man, who the hell does this person think he is that he's doing this, doing that? That's his job. You're the manager. Most job is to say what I do wrong. That's it.
Right.
So I may sit there and say, well, you think you do everything perfectly. That's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
The point of the matter is she's in a position to correct me. So instead of me taking that position of saying, man, who do you think you are? I should take the position of, you know what? Let me learn from it and become better before I get fired.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's so true. Um, Brandon, I appreciate the super sticker, or I think it was a super chat. Coffee, what comment were you talking about? I spoke about accountability, a comment to Bolo earlier. Can you leave the comment again? I missed it. Sis, did you want to comment on the topic or relationships, lack of patience,
Um,
relationships, or
Hey
not,
T.
not really. Hey, everybody.
I
Welcome.
hear you?
Welcome. Hey, everybody. I'm just here supporting and just
Salute,
listening.
salute.
Thank you.
Oh,
I don't really know for sure what's going on right now because I just got here, but patience, that's something that I definitely have to work on because my patience is very short
Hmm.
um, in many different areas of my life. So, yeah, I'm just praying about that and trying to figure that out. But, yeah,
Me
shout
too.
out.
Same.
I think that's where a lot of anxiety comes from too,
Mm-hmm.
lacking patience.
Mm, good
So,
point. Good point. I feel like I probably gotta work on that too
So
sometimes.
hold on, Riaz, before you go there, because I was saying how lack of patience in relationships can cause us unnecessary pain, and that's why we have so many issues now. And Bolo said, is it lack of patience or is it lack of what? Would you say self awareness?
no, what I was
mm,
saying was before you go on, narratives and he I guess he reiterated the text or what you asked him to do. You asked him to put it,
Mhm.
so he brought it back up. Um, at the end of the day, it's again the tree is not sick from the fruit; it's sick from the root,
Hey, Uncle Fatty. Right, that's so true. Hey,
and that's
Scam.
and that's the point. So all of these things that we're talking about, as far as patience, as far as this, that, and the third, they're all symptoms to a bigger problem. They're
Mm-hmm.
all symptoms. So once we can isolate what the bigger problem is, now we can start dealing with all of the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like when you go to the doctor today, the doctors prescribe medication towards the symptoms. They don't
Mm-hmm.
give, they don't prescribe medication towards the sickness. You have a headache, yeah, here's some aspirin, take that. But the headache is a bigger picture to something else. The body is trying to get you to understand that there's something bigger going on. And if you don't
Right.
catch it, cool, okay, there'll be another symptom that's going to be more worse than the first one. And it'll just progress and progress and progress.
Mm.
So all of these things, when you hear, for example, when you hear the dude talking about birds, 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 right? He's talking about birds. I don't
Mm-hmm.
see the birds being a problem because if I
Because
like,
he said every woman is a bird, right?
I mean, even if he was making, I'm sure that he didn't think everyone was every woman was a bird. But my problem, my issue with the conversation was, if I like turkey and
Mm-hmm.
Mo Love, T, Scorch, Angel, Riaz, and 84 going hunting for quail, I'm not gonna go. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like quail. I like turkey. So when you guys go hunting for turkey, count me in. You can't get
Yeah.
mad at the birds when you go bird hunting. The birds were birds when they found you.
So
oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? You decided to go looking for the birds. So who's
mm-hmm.
worse, the birds or the bird catcher? Who's worse, the trash or the guy that jumps into the trash, or the gal that
Mm,
jumps into the trash?
That's
Who's
so
worse?
good.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's the issue. So we got to go into, and the reason why the guy got really defensive, even though I wasn't talking to him, the reason why he got defensive is because, again, that accountability. Because now a mirror is being raised, and no one likes the mirror. Who likes it? No one likes to be sitting in the hot seat. I know I don't like it.
Right. Me
But
neither.
how do you expect to grow if you don't find out why do you keep attracting birds? Because you're a bird
Mhm.
attractor, right? Your vibe attracts your tribe. You yourself are a bird. So that's why you attract birds. That's how it
Hey,
goes.
Jonesy, you're right.
A wicked person
Mhm.
is not going to attract a righteous person for a wife or a husband. It doesn't work that way. The Lord tells us that. Light don't hang out with darkness. Light
Uh-huh.
will go and teach darkness. Light will emit a light to get rid of darkness, absolutely. But they don't have a camaraderie. They just don't.
Uh-huh.
Mm. Wait, but is it also when it comes to relationship, the thing is it also though as well thought is like what is put out is what is put back when you're saying no your vibe attracts your tribe, the type of energy you put out, consciously, subconsciously, what you put out is what you get back and what goes around comes around. So basically like whatever energy you're manifesting inside is gonna be the same energy that you're gonna put on the outside, and that same energy you put on the inside and outside is what your results will be. That's why some people though, when they actually like what you explained, they do that though, they do what they do or what they say though, it's because they themselves is thinking here on the inside, and on the outside that energy is projected elsewhere, hence why they get the results they get though. Like no matter who they choose, no matter where they go, they get the same result. It's because the energy they putting they have inside is the same thing that is being put out. You know, that's what
Hey,
I feel like it
chocolate.
can be. And I guess though, with I don't know, just the patient that's depending on the person as well, though. You know, it's just like a deep rooted thing, though. Like, okay, I gotta be real with you. I gotta learn to be a bit more patient sometimes. I can be patient, but when it comes to when speaking, when I get too passionate, I need to learn to be a bit more patient and also right to recognize when someone else is speaking. I'm slowly getting better at that, though. Just that right at this moment, I don't know. Sometimes it just
Mhm.
happens, you know.
Yeah, you're getting better. Thank you so much for your input. I appreciate you, Riaz.
Hey,
Mo, I got
hey,
a question, Mo.
More love.
Huh?
I gotta go. I gotta get up in the morning. So thank you for having
Okay.
me on. Good night to everyone. Hey, bro,
Good.
Bolo,
Yes, sir.
acknowledge me.
You already
Mm,
know.
Thank you, sir.
mm.
Have a blessed night, man.
All right,
Okay.
Mo.
Acknowledge.
Talk to you later. Love.
Acknowledge. Okay.
Okay, so Uncle Fatty said once we realize we are the problem, once we realize we are the problem, the cause of the symptoms, then we can truly evaluate the actions that we need to change.
100%.
Blame and victimhood is usually a clear sign of self cause causation.
Caution.
Yeah.
Mo, I got a question, Mo.
Uh-huh.
What made you come up with this topic? What was the motivation behind it?
I was just reading and I was stuck on the scriptures, patience being a virtue. And I was actually watching somebody minister about the importance of having patience. And then they went into the other scripture, Ecclesiastes is in 7 and 8, where uh the end of the thing, Bolo, what is it? Can you quote it? Like you have to.
It's not the beginning of the thing; it's the ending of the thing that matters. You want me to get the scripture that says that? I can get it
That's
for you.
Ecclesiastes 7 and 8, I think. But yeah, so and then I just started thinking like, wow, I had to look at me. Like a lot of my issues have come from lack of patience and anxiety and me,
Mm-hmm.
wanting what I want, when I want it, how I want it. And then and I'm speaking towards when I was younger before my relationship with the Lord was strengthened. And I still struggle. But in regards to relationships, I have learned to be more careful because of the mistakes that I have made in the past from not being patient.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel sorry.
and it's just so important. Like we can create storms because we refuse to wait on God, you know?
But Mo, you're not guilty of that. You're very patient. You sometimes you're too patient. You know.
Now I'm more patient and I'm not very patient. It's still a struggle,
Yeah,
honestly.
Wait, I feel like you're very patient, but also sometimes you have your limits, though. So I feel you on that, though. Because I can be like that too. I know I think patient, I'm kind of nice and positive, all that, though. But trust me, I got my limits too, though. And that's just understandable and normal thing, though. I just feel you on that kind of thing, though. And also, I know I gotta be a bit more patient sometimes, though, because I'm neurodivergent and I'm also hypersensitive as well. So sometimes I have to be a little bit more careful. Sometimes different situations can actually set me off though, but also, I just need to breathe and actually just, center myself first though to actually remember that, okay, it's going to be fine as well. 'Cause, you know, sometimes I feel, and also I'm going to try and slow down right now because I'm going too fast.
Okay. Vaughn, did you make up a song?
He said, what did he say? Multi of America have
I think
you
he's
heard?
kind of trolling a little
I
bit. I
got a
don't know.
brand new dance, and it's called the bird. Well, he was talking. He was saying that towards what I was saying. The bird, the
Oh
bird,
yeah, that
squad.
was classic.
Hallelujah.
Like people talked about that for weeks. And when I went back and listened, I said, yeah, that was on point.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Hallelujah. Oh,
Sis, did you want to add anything else as far as patience and relationships? Any advice you'd like to give in regards to being patient in regards to relationships?
Well, I think I've been married 57 years, so I think
Will this year be 20?
um no, wait, hold on. We got married in '08, so no. But I've been knowing this man since '05. So we've been together since '05, but we got married in '08. But anyway, ciao.
Yes.
Yes, patience is definitely a virtue, and I think that it's very important in any, especially a marriage or committed relationship. It's very important to have patience because people change with time, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally.
Mhm.
People go through different things in life where you're never going to be the same person that you met 20 years ago, whatever the time frame is. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that's definitely a part where you have to include patience in on both sides because
So what do you do in those moments where you are impatient and you may want a response or you may want an understanding from somebody in that moment? Like how do you what do you
usually from my personal experience and for me and my husband, when those moments get heated, a lot of times, not a lot, but like sometimes,
Mhm.
a lot of times you just walk away or for just for a more subtle time where it's less emotions involved and then you talk about
Mhm.
the situation. But like when it's just super heated, I don't think it's a good idea to talk about certain things when everybody gets heated on both sides. You just kind of chill out, write things down, pinpoint the things that you want to talk about, and then try to find a resolution to those things that you want to get resolved.
Yeah,
Because a lot of times, if you go into a situation heated and mad and upset, there's not going to be a resolution. There's going to
right.
just be a circular argument, if you will. So it's just
Mhm.
pointless. I think it's toxic, and if you're in the long run with with a person and you really love them and you want to make it work, um, you're gonna take that time out, break away for a minute, go right down the street, circle back, boom, think about it, write down your thoughts, go to the mall, go to the grocery store, walk around. Even if you just buy one thing, just walk around the grocery store, whatever. Just cool
Mhm.
off
Just
and
need
then
a
come
break.
back, reset, and then write down your thoughts and really like carefully think them out, and then go from there and try to figure it out.
That's so good. Thank you. Because I know I'm the type like I want answers then. I
I
want
used
to
to be like that in my 20s.
now. Like I gotta understand now. Like this is bothering me.
Yeah, I'm too old for
Um,
that now. I don't got time for that now.
oh, that's good.
Yeah, in my 20s, yeah, I was like, okay, What's going on? I want to know what's going on. Tell me right now. But at 41, child, let's take a minute. Let's take a break. Everybody chill out, and we're gonna figure it out. Like,
Oh my
ain't
god!
nobody going
But
nowhere.
I hear that. I hear that from people who, been married
Ain't
for.
nobody going no damn where. So I
Right.
mean, I'm just saying, let's take a
Hmm.
break and figure it out. It is what it is.
Yeah. Chocolate said we have so many things and people that affect our lives. We have to have patience and empathy for the communities. I
Mhm.
agree.
Yeah, for sure,
Hmm.
for sure.
Absolutely. That was so good.
Thank you.
Thank you for the support, sis. I appreciate you.
Of course.
Super chat.
You know I'm gonna keep it real. 1,000.
Hmm. So, does anyone else want to add anything before I close out? I don't stay live. Is remember, sis, when I used to stay live
I know.
2 hours?
I
Mm,
know, but your work schedule changed, so I get it.
Yeah. Then the kids too. School is about to start,
Oh
so
yeah.
it's different.
okay, that's understandable on that type of thing as well.
Oh,
Literally, so September, I'm gonna start that thing I told her about though. Literally, get my mom said though, and I'm out there though. She don't want me on the panel, and I'm out there though. In the home, it's one thing. When I'm in the
Your
home,
mom doesn't want you on the panel, you said?
no. Remember I told you about what I'm gonna do in September, right? Let me slow down though. So basically, in September, right? Remember, I told you what I'm gonna do. There's this, it's a community-based charity. They just go out to help me. So I'm gonna join something. Think about it. It's like learning though. It's like a form of adult learning though. So think of it. It's like college, but at the same time, it's not college though. But it's
Oh,
more.
I remember. Uh-huh.
I told about that. When I told you about it, my mom basically told me though, look, I don't mind you being on the panel when you're at home. That's at home. But when you're out there though, I want you to properly focus on that though. Don't mind if I'm
Mhm.
listening or whatever, but basically joining the panel and stuff like that though, when I'm outside and stuff like that. What you don't want me doing that. You want me to actually focus on, over there, more because I work differently. I'm very
oh,
different from everyone else. Don't you want me to focus more there? And they're gonna travel train with me, and that's why though. So I'm gonna actually be
Mhm.
taught a lot of stuff. So if
Okay.
you want me to
I pray
actually
that
focus
things
on it,
really go well in the future for you.
yes.
Your mom
thank
is
you.
right. It's so important to focus. You won't have as much time to, I guess, engage on YouTube. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
sis, when you comment, it's showing up. You may want to comment from your phone.
Oh
It's
yeah,
showing.
yeah. That's what it does on because I'm on StreamYard too. So it does that when you're on StreamYard. It'll show up as your comment.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I had to think. I think just like that.
Yeah. Right.
um, yeah, but this has been so good.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a great topic. 84, did you have anything else or
I guess the last thing
No, I
I
didn't. I didn't. I didn't. I didn't.
you didn't? Okay. Sis?
No, I'm good. It was a great. From what I heard, it was a great live. And
Mm-hmm.
y'all hit the like, share, subscribe. Definitely hit that super chat. She is monetized now. Support the channel, even if it's $1 or two. Everything, every dollar counts. Everything counts. This is great content, positive content. Nobody's doing the most, yelling, screaming about race or gender war and all that good stuff. Definitely support positive content where nobody's doing all that, you know, extra nonsense or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to Bolo for support my sister every week. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
and I love you, and I just love what y'all are doing over here. And y'all are great. Y'all are a great team. I appreciate y'all for
Love
sure.
you back. Thank you.
all right,
For sure.
same.
Thank you so much, sis. I love you and
No,
I
for sure.
always appreciate your support. It means everything to me. And
For
thank you
sure.
for your words of wisdom in regards to marriage, patience.
It's a man. It's real. When you're
Mm-hmm.
married, listen, you gotta have like 20 times extra patience than you would for like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like because when you take that vow to someone again, before God, that's
Mm-hmm.
just it is what it is. That person you married that day is not gonna be the same person 10 years from that day, 20 years from that day, 30, and so on and so forth. So you have to learn to grow and appreciate that person for their growth and their changes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. So
That's so true.
I guess that's what I say though is please leave a like, comment, share, connect to the host and connect to everybody on the panel and in the chat if you're a creator. Help us grow it, God willingly, inshallah, God willingly, help everyone grow though. And basically, yeah, I kind of feel now because when it comes to that marriage type thing, know what I know right now, but based on what I kind of just know a little bit, though, the knowledge I know is that marriage is about compromise and sacrifice. So when you're compromising and sacrificing, though, you're supposed to have a lot of patience, though. And when you're saying that, though, it's why you have to deal with that 10 to 20 times more, though, is because you're not just living with the person, though, you're spending time and you know the person as well. It's just that you're going to have to tolerate them for years, though. And what do I know about that? Nothing at the moment, but I will learn soon enough, though. But it's based on how the home, inside the home, and how I observe and see, though, and what I hear as well. That's just how it's supposed to be as well. It's deeper than that, though, man.
mhm.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Riaz. Try. Sis, try is in the chat.
Hey, try. Make sure I love you. I hope I get your love. It's my girl.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I met Try through you. Thank you, A-Dub. Thank you, Uncle Fatty. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Vaughn, Brandon, Kwafi. I appreciate everybody. Scam. I can't name Cynical One.
Mhm.
The panel. I miss so many people. I hate calling names. Tough Guy, True Bleed, Black Lexicon,
You can't
Waha,
just say everybody because sometimes.
Waldo. It's so many people. Like, I'm
Mhm.
just y'all support me. And Bolo,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Like Sid said, Bolo, I appreciate you so much for your wisdom and just for your dedication. Because you have a life, you know. So I really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, guys. Well, I'll be back next Sunday night at 10:30. Not sure what the topic is yet, but I will definitely be going live. And I hope that y'all tune in. And feel free to share my lives. And please subscribe if you have not. If this content or this live has blessed you in any way. Yeah. So we'll resume next week.
All right.
Bolo, what are your final thoughts?
Uh, take your time to get to understand who you are. It's not easy. Be patient with yourself. Meditate in the Father. Find yourself always being in Him. Have a conversation with Him. Read your word.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much. That was so good. We'll resume next week. I pray that everyone has a blessed week. And I'll see y'all later. Bye, guys.
Deuces. Bye.